So basically, there isn't any specific industry that should have a tax agent or not. Every industry can have a tax agent.
Which type of industries should choose a tax agent?
What in turn happens is now our firm then accepts your offer and then they assign a tax agent for you.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel, and in today's podcast we are going to discuss a major difference between choosing a tax agent versus choosing a normal tax consultant. So with me here I have my guest Ms. Shailaja, who is a registered tax agent with Federal Tax Authority for value added tax. So welcome Shailaja to the podcast.
Thanks, Kripika. Thanks for welcoming me.
Yes. So beginning with, the basic question, what is an FTA tax agent?
So to put it simple words, okay, so FTA tax agent is a person who has been approved by the Federal Tax Authority to take care of the tax requirements of another business entity. That is like a simplest way of explaining it.
So to become a tax agent, can anyone become a tax agent, or is there a specific qualification they require?
See, it's not that everyone can become a tax agent, because to become a tax agent, you have to go through examination to qualify yourself. And it's just not the examination, there are preconditions of qualification as well. So first thing, you should be a professional from a CA background, a CMA or a ACCA, or any relative background experience. Then you should be having a clearance of like no crime record, and there are so many other conditions to be justified as well. So primarily it is like a person who is very clear on their official records, who has relevant experience, and who completes the other basic qualification exams. Only they are eligible to become a tax agent.
And what would be the benefit of hiring a tax agent, like for my company, suppose?
In UAE, it is very common, right? Like you can find a lot of tax consultant firms here in the UAE. Now, there's always a difference between what a tax consultant is and what a tax agent role is.
Yeah, that would be my next question. Like, what is a tax consultant? And what would be the major difference between a tax agent and a consultant?
Okay, so first let me put it across. A tax consultant is a person, maybe like any person who is aware about the UAE common laws, the VAT regulations, the tax laws, everything. They can work for you, or they can do your tax filings, your tax computations. It can be VAT, corporate tax, excise tax. They can still do it and they can file it on your behalf. So when a tax consultant does a tax filing to the FTA authority, it is always like the business entity is the one who's filed it. Okay, the consultant doesn't take any ownership or liability on the filed records. But however, if you take the case of a tax agent, okay, so there's always a tax agency that entity will have to tie up with, and the tax agency will appoint its tax agent, which means there is a structuring happening here, right? So when we do your tax filings, let's say you have an entity and I have to do your entity's tax filing. Now, I will not be using your entity's FTA login credential. Rather, me being as a tax agent, I have my own login on the FTA portal through which I would be doing all the required filings, assessments, any requirement with the FTA, I will do it through my login portal.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And if FTA has any questions on the filings which tax agent has done, like would that be asked to the tax agent or the business owners itself?
See, as I said, the difference, this is the primary difference. Now, let's say me being a tax agent, I've submitted a corporate tax filing or a VAT filing, and FTA has queries over it. Now, FTA really knows through whom the filing was done. Was it by the entity or was it by the tax agent? Since they know it's a tax agent that I have done the filing, the queries and the questions will be directed to me. And me being a tax agent, I am the one who will be responsible to answer to the FTA on of your entity.
Will that mean that the liabilities will also be a part of this filing that you will be doing as a tax agent?
Exactly. So when we do any filing as a tax agent has a lot more liability than a tax consultant.
Okay.
As I said, the tax consultant will use your login into the FTA. It's you who did your filing and you would be answerable. But as a tax agent, since the filing has been done through our account, we are liable for the correctiveness of the documents filed. And any inaccuracy will lead to penalty to the tax agent.
Okay. That means if I hire a tax agent for my company, I'll be free of penalties if there's any.
Exactly. And also, you can be doubly sure because whatever documents is being submitted is going to be perfectly right.
Okay.
And the reason is just not because of hiring a tax agent. The major reason is the tax agent has a bigger liability, right? So
Yeah.
if I have a financial liability over me, definitely I'm going to recheck all the documents before I'm going to submit it.
Got it. Got it. And like, there are too many tax agents in the market, I assume. So, how would I identify or a business owner identify how to choose your right tax agent?
Okay, see, to choose a right tax agent, first of all, on the FTA portal, if you go, you can just, key in the words tax agent and you get a page with a list of all the tax agents registered in the UAE. And you can choose Emirate wise and you can choose service wise. Maybe, somebody might be looking only for VAT tax agents. Some might expect for a person only in corporate tax. All that you can choose there. And of course, there are a number of, tax agents. I would suggest speak to an agent. It can be any agent. Explain them what is your requirement. Understand what would be their process in taking it over. And if you feel it's good, yes, please proceed.
That's great. What are the things that a tax consultant cannot do?
See, as I mentioned, tax agent, tax consultant, all this. The tax consultant have their own limitations. Now, not a tax consultant cannot do everything the same as a tax agent does. For example, I said like me being a tax agent, I use my account to do the requirements. Being a consultant, they're going to use your business entity's account. So first thing, a tax consultant cannot represent your entity in front of the FTA. This is a major drawback of going with a tax consultant. Second, they cannot plead for any penalties or they cannot take ownership of anything that's gone wrong. And on the major side, you cannot hold liable a tax consultant
Right.
for any VAT misfilings or any penalties that arise from the FTA.
And let's address the elephant in the room. I assume that tax agent will cost a lot more than the tax consultant, right?
Of course, certainly. See, as I said, the terms consultant agent makes a bigger difference and it applies in the costing as well. Because the costing does not come only on the term of agent or consultant, it's about the liability,
Right.
right? So, being a tax agent, we do have a lot of liability to take care of it. And definitely, like, let's say in the market, if you are spending like 1,000 for a VAT filing per quarter, let's say, a tax agent VAT filing would cost you approximately 4 to 5,000 per quarter.
Oh, okay. But that assures me in a long term that I'll not face any penalties. If I do, it will be tax agents' liability to take care of, right?
Exactly. See, for example, let's say you are spending 15,000 a year for your tax filings. Okay. Now, this can save you from a penalty of approximately 50,000.
Correct. Correct.
And in the long term, it gives you a more authenticity of documents that you've filed. And for the FTA, it's always clear that there's a tax agent between you, your entity, and the FTA, which means the representation is all good and it gives you a good name in front of the authorities.
There is one more question that is coming up, which is which type of industries should choose a tax agent?
That was a good question. So basically, there isn't any specific industry that should have a tax agent or not. Every industry can have a tax agent. be it a trading industry, someone into manufacturing, someone into consulting, anyone can appoint a tax agent for their entity. The major point I would like to say is, people especially who are dealing with a voluminous business, where the transaction value is more, the number of transactions are more, or people with mixed kind of transactions, I would suggest them to go with a tax agent rather than a tax consultant.
So what would you suggest? Like, if I have a company and I have a voluminous business with a lot of transaction, a lot of liabilities can come into place. Should I prioritize appointing a tax agent for corporate tax or VAT?
Now, coming back to your question, because this is like corporate tax or VAT, it's like
Correct.
an option of one out of it. See, first thing I would say, both are really important, be it VAT or corporate tax. The implications of both the taxes are very important. And if you take VAT, and when you say there is a numerous number of transactions happening, now this can be a mixed type of transactions, right?
Right.
So it can be standard rated, zero rated, or exempted, or out of scope. So all this has to be rightly put into the place, okay, and then the filing to be done, so that when you apply for VAT refund, you get it easily through done.
Yeah.
So of course, for VAT, having a tax agent makes really a difference for you. It's a good thing about the corporate tax because I would personally suggest to have a corporate tax filing done through a tax agent. The reason is, as you mentioned, it's going to be a huge number of transaction voluminous business. Now, imagine if it was a trading business which had qualified for a qualifying free zone, which would get a 0% tax benefit. In the recent time, the 2024 filing, what we observed is there had been a lot of tax consultants done the filing as a regular filing instead of the qualifying free zone person. So these entities, they really lost the benefit of getting a 0% tax benefit for the current year plus the upcoming 4 years.
And I know like certain elections are irrevocable for corporate tax, so that makes it more important that you make the right elections since the beginning.
Exactly. So your first year of your corporate tax was really very important,
Yeah.
and most of them have done it rightly, and some of them has been misguided by some people as well. So because of that, some people have lost the benefits for the upcoming 4 years now. So when you choose your partner to do your tax filing, it's always important that you choose your right partner. And my preference, go for a tax agent, because since the liability on a tax agent is more, they are more cautious not to miss anything for you.
Now, like, you have pretty much convinced all of our viewers to appoint a tax agent and how important it is to appoint a tax agent and have a tax agent for your company so that you don't lose on any benefits, you don't have any fines, penalties, and they can be assured that everything is in place for them. Now, to appoint a tax agent, like, what is the process, how to do it?
All that you have to do is just simply log into your FTA portal and choose the relevant tax agency firm that you wish to work with. In case if you wish to work with our firm, now you can choose our name, Flying Color Tax Consultant, from the list and request us to be appointed as your tax agency. What in turn happens is now our firm then accepts your offer, and then they assign a tax agent for you. For example, now I'm a tax agent. Like me, there are many more tax agents working in our firm. They will be assigning one of a tax agent dedicated for your entity, which means you're getting a dedicated tax agent now.
That's great. Now, if any of our viewers want to appoint, or before appointing, in fact, they want to have a call with you, what would be the process? Like, how can they connect with you?
Our link is always shared in the bio. You can just click on the link, write to us, connect with us, and I always suggest, advisory is better even before assignment of the tax agent. So we wish to discuss with you, understand the scope of work, what your requirements are, and then we would guide you accordingly.
Thank you, Shailaja, for your lovely insights today. And any viewers who want to have a call with her or any other tax agents in our firm, All the details will be in our description. And plus, I hope you got a great insight today on how to choose a tax agent and a tax consultant and when to choose them. So do subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. So thank you, Shailaja. Thank you for being today.